During the 1973-1974 academic year, he led the first ever student strike in the university. This followed the discontinuation of the entire final year students of the architecture department. He led a students' coup to wrest the prestigious architectural department from the firm grip of Asian and European students. Former Vice President Professor Josephat Karanja was the Vice Chancellor at that time.
They were failed. None of them passed the examinations. It was a famous Jorgensen crisis. And we felt that there was a certain degree of racism because, the profession was dominated by white people, Europeans at that time. And we felt they were trying to have some kind of control in the population or production of architects from the University of Nairobi. So the entire university went on strike, and the university was closed, and eventually, the university administration said we were expelled, all the student leaders. We went back to the campus under the mantra that without the student leadership being admitted back, there will be no university. And that campaign went on and on and on, and eventually the university administration had to relent.
That was 1970.
This
I don't know, because I think those ones are very corner and the items are busy. I don't know what's going on.
After completing his university education, James Orengo transitioned into a political activist. As late as 2017 and at the age of 66 years, the now Siaya senator was still leading street protests, a position he says will not change anytime soon.
I think it started while I was at the Alliance High School. And then eventually, when I was at the university. And I've never really stopped, because one of the things I believe that vigilance is very important. However much you think you've reached certain goals.
The seasoned politician says the more things change, the more they remain the same. And his mantra is one: once an activist, always an activist.
My belief is that any society, even the mature democracies like exist in the West, without persistent and constant vigilance, achievements of the past to which people have sacrificed their lives and their personal comforts would be compromised and diluted. And therefore, I find it quite within my personal DNA, if I may put it that way, to continue in this course. And I pride myself not with any arrogance, but I think I've been true to the cause, and I think in whatever circumstances, whether in Parliament or outside Parliament, I would continue to do the same things, the same way, but probably using the different tools. One of the events that normally come up to my mind, to react to this question, was when I had left campus and J.M. Kariki was assassinated. I think that was 75, and I went back to campus, and I said, you people must get out and condemn this heinous, brutal murder.
His sharp legal mind that bore the established lethal advocate that he is landed him in Parliament in 1980, when he was elected as MP for Ugenya in a by-election, a seat he lost 3 years later in 1983, when he was forced to seek asylum in Tanzania after escaping through Uganda. he was linked to the 1982 aborted coup.
I was arrested and charged with trumped-up charges, including, these mileage claims. There was a day when I was in Parliament, and I had a conversation with the late Ole Tippis. And Tippis told me, and he was a little bit tipsy. He said, we have other ways of dealing with you, like we have dealt with people like J.M. Kariki. But for you, I've now signed your detention orders. He was at that time the Minister for State in charge of internal security. And he was telling me this thing, Mr. Joseph Nyaga, who was then a minister in the government, followed me where I went to sit with other people, and he called me aside and he said, don't take it as a joke what you're being told by Mr. Tippis. Confront it as a politician, but if you feel that these people may mess you up, the decision is yours. So after some consultations, I decided to go to seek asylum in Tanzania, although I went through Uganda. And my personal life was messed up a bit because I lost my mother during that week. And I remember we buried her on a Saturday, and on Sunday I was off.
However, as fate would have it, his asylum was short-lived. Together with other fugitives in Tanzania, they were extradited to Kenya.
What came out to light later on, and the Prime Minister at that time, Mr. Sokoine, was the one who led the negotiations between Kenya and Tanzania in this exchange. We were sure that Tanzania would never have done that. In fact, there was a lot of international condemnation of that exchange. But they did it because they were looking badly for these nationals who had ran into Kenya.
His would-be safe haven turned into a nightmare. After critical diplomatic calls between Nairobi and Dar es Salaam, certain hard choices were inevitable. The asylum seekers were thrown under the bus. He found himself on a treacherous journey back home.
I've never had such a rough ride in my life, because we were lying on the floor of a truck with police boots on your head. You're being told all sorts of things, and being dared as to how you could plan to overthrow the Kenyan government. The Kenyan government has got a long hand, you can't hide. And we were all driven to committee, prison. The first 3 months while we were at committee, we shared a cell with the Chuka and Pancras Hotel, which we thought gave us some latitude of, company and sharing experiences and so on.
Orengo had lost his parliamentary seat and now his freedom. It was now a new life in detention for anyone suspected to have been part of the attempted coup.
But after 3 months, we were moved again to Naivasha Maximum Prison. And there we were put in the same block but separate cells. Each person had a cell 3 or 4 cells away from the other person. First week was okay, second week was okay. Although we were in solitary confinement, we allowed only half an hour to go out, individually, not as a group. Go to the toilet, and the toilet, you're not using the toilet, you're getting rid of what you're done during the night because you had a bucket and so on. And then you have that cold shower.
Ati black chocolate ni fine melanin bana kutoka nikapate. Kanapenda kenye mi wanapenda, so kanapenda toto chupa na hali ya nono.
Madam na kudai, umedunga mini na unapenda mangwai. Una dance fit, unawacha nikismile. Ama niko high, jua lies, nice.
Kono moja mbele, gini yenderembe.